Hey everyone, so today we're going to talk about using the playlist window, playing live, and using the preview window to kind of play live as well. So let's take a look at what we have here. If you push Control-Shift-P on Windows, you can toggle your playlist window. If you push Control-Shift-E on Windows as well, you can toggle your preview window. So some things you'll see here in the playlist window, and if all these options aren't available to you, you click on this little drop-down arrow, and you can toggle them here, right? Okay, now with that being said, just give you a quick overview. If you want to add entries to your playlist, you click Add Entry. If you want to delete them, you click on these things here, and you click Remove Selected. And here you can change whichever scene you want for the selected scene in your playlist. And here you're able to change the transition time between each scene. So this 10 seconds does not mean 10 seconds to this clip. This means 10 seconds to when you change back to this clip. So the 20 seconds here means it's going to take 20 seconds to go from square to shader, right? Okay, then over here you have crossfade and additive dissolve as your two options, and of course none, to determine the logic that Magic uses to transition between both phases, or both scenes, I should say. Crossfade does more of a 50-50 blend between each scene, to where as it starts fading in, it's at 50%, the other scene's 50%, and they kind of both fade out evenly. Additive dissolve is more of like it still leaves in the other scene while it starts blending in the scene you're going to into the current scene that you're on. So you get kind of a mix between the colors, the visuals, whatever scenes you have selected. Personally, I find myself using additive dissolve more. It gives me more of a mix between the two scenes, whereas crossfade is more of like you definitely notice something's changing, whereas in additive dissolve, you can't really tell the difference, but you just start to see a new scene kind of emerge into what you're playing. And then over here, you have your auto advance time. So say if you have, a 3-minute song and you realize that, the drop happens at 1 minute and you want the scene to arrive at 1 minute, you can kind of set this here to where the scene will automatically start changing at that 1 minute mark, right? And both of these are used when you're using auto advance, right? So if I have this starting to come in at 1 minute, it's going to take 20 seconds for me to fully transition to this scene. So by the time this scene's done transitioning, you'll have 1 minute and 20 seconds. One of the things to note is that, say if I have this, a 20-second transition starting in a minute, if I bring in my new transition at 1 minute and 15, it's going to automatically interrupt this transition and just bring in this new scene. You may want that. Say you want some instant change for a drop and the exact second, you can do that. But just notice that, if you have 1 minute, you have this coming in at 1 minute, and you have 20 seconds of transition. If you start trying to transition to the next scene before this is finished, it'll just make an abrupt change. So that's, you may want that, you may not. In most cases that I've seen, I have not wanted that to happen, but, I'm just one person. Take and pick and choose as you'd like. One other thing to notice is that to get this to work, you have to have playback control enabled. If that's not enabled, it will not reference this playlist at all. And as you'll see is that if you have playback control enabled, as soon as you start your song, auto advance is automatically enabled, which means it's going to start following these time signatures that you've set up. So say if you just want to manually change between your scenes, as soon as you start your song, you're going to want to click auto advance off. And these two buttons here, next entry and previous entry, allows you to kind of toggle between the scenes you have in your playlist, right? So And again, if auto advance is on, it's just going to kind of automatically, watch, I'll play my song. It's going to automatically just go to the beginning, you know? So it's just something to keep in mind that when you're working with your stuff, every time you stop your song and restart it, auto advance turns on and it restarts at the end of the scene or at the beginning of your playlist. You know, so say if I click here, you know, so start doing the transition to this scene at this rate, not including this because we just kind of skipped there. You know, so it's like if you want to have manual control of this, you know, you can kind of do this in the middle, right? But if you don't want it to automatically change at these times, you're going to want to toggle this off, right? You know, there's also a randomize button where it'll randomly choose between the scenes in your playlist. You know, so it's like, why is it not working? Okay, maybe there's not a randomize. That is odd. Oh wait, duh, okay, excuse me. To have randomize enabled, you have to have playback control off. And it will just automatically randomize between your scenes, right? Okay, so that's good to know, right? So playback control means you're going to come in here and start toggling these, right? But at this time, it's going to randomly choose a new scene. See? As you can tell, once this transition was done, it started bringing in another random scene. You know, so let's see. Okay, for most use cases though, I don't find myself ever really using randomize. The whole point of using a playlist is so that you can kind of choose what you're playing at a given time. So using randomize kind of, in my opinion at least, defeats the purpose of what you're trying to accomplish here. You know, say you have a set of scenes you're wanting to play, but you don't know which ones. I guess you can turn on randomize and then use your transition times to kind of control that. But again, for playing live, you probably won't really use randomize. So yeah, let's move on to the next area to where we can kind of demo what these do. You know, so let's turn off auto advance. And what you'll see is that since we have a 20-second transition time and we're not using auto advance, we're currently sitting on square. So, excuse me, we'll do next on entry playlist and it will take 20 seconds with additive dissolve to go to the shader. So see how it slowly brings it in while keeping the square there. It kind of mixes between them. You know, so again, one of my favorites is additive dissolve. I find myself using that more than crossfade. Again, that's just me, but you know, everyone's different. Pick and choose that you'd like. You know, so let's do a next transition as another additive dissolve to shader 3. Shader 3 is somewhat similar to shader. So we'll once it gets to another phrase in the song, we'll start transitioning and you'll kind of see how this works in action to where you can kind of blend these two things together, right? You know, so here, let's see what we're going to do here, right? So we'll do it right when you start singing. Now, as you can tell, we're getting different effects, right? It's slowly starting to bring in the new scene. And that's kind of the beauty of additive dissolve. Is, you know, I know what's in shader 3, but you don't. So it just kind of looks like it's transitioning. You know, it looks like it's evolving it. You don't know what's changing, but it's not the same. You know, so you can kind of create really unique and cool effects that you wouldn't have been able to create before. You know, so it's like, look, which scene is it on? Well, I don't know. That's the beauty of it. You know, so with that in mind, it's like, okay, well now we can bring in another scene that definitely is different, you know, but like, we'll do like a 15-second transition so we can change back to this when the drop happens. Or I guess not the drop, the next phrase. You know, so here in a second, we'll go to circle and you'll see it kind of pull in, right? Okay, we're bringing in the circle. Let's do a 5-second transition. We'll do shader 3 and we'll do additive dissolve. You know, right before it starts dropping, or whatever you want to call it in trance. You know, and again, you want to make sure transition's all the way out, or else you're going to have an abrupt change. All right, so here we go. See, it's like, okay, you kind of, you can change these live and kind of pick and choose how you like, guys. There's no rhyme or reason. It all boils down to personal preference. If you want 2-second changes in between, you can do that. If you want, you know, 1 second or 2 minutes, you can get really cool changes. You know, so we'll do 1 second change here just to show you how it works. Look, see, there we go, and it's already out. You know, so again, there's no rhyme or reason. But okay, we'll change this to do, let's do 60 seconds. And we'll change this to, let's do just regular shader. Okay, we'll wait for the phrase. Alright, we'll bring in the shader. You'll see it start blending in. There we go. You know, it's a minute transition. And please note, when you're using these transitions, you can't write like 2 minutes. It just goes to 2 seconds. You have to use seconds. You know, so if you want 3 minutes, you gotta use 180. You know, so the longer the transition, especially with edit, I guess that's crossfade that we're into, duh. You know, it's gonna kind of blend them together and give you some interesting looking results that are very difficult to achieve without using these transitions, you know. So utilize playlists to create new ideas and things that you didn't really think you had, but they were already kind of hidden in your creation. You know, now that the song is ending, I'm going to change the song here, and then we'll go into the preview window about how you can utilize both of these to kind of play live and edit the scene while your audience is viewing this. Okay, so let's change the song. To stick with this, we'll try to do another, let's do another like trancey or progressive house song, whatever you guys want to call it. I don't know. Okay, and as you can tell, like I was saying earlier, as soon as I press play, it's going to auto change back to the square 0, not square 1. See? So just be aware of that. You know, just be careful. That may bite you a couple times, so just be aware of that. So we'll turn auto advance off, right? Okay. So now that we've messed with the playlist a little bit, let's kind of open up our preview window. And how you open up your preview window, again, do Control-Shift-E on Windows, Command-Shift-E for Mac. You know, so you right-click here, you preview only and preview and edit. If you do preview only, you'll be able to come here and just view what this scene is, you know. But if you want to go edit this, you're going to want to do right-click, preview and edit, and then choose Shader 3 again. And as you just noticed, my scene and nodes in the background just changed, right? You know, so it's like now I can come here and know what this one's doing, and then start editing this, you know? So it's like, okay, I want to add a bloom to this because, you know, bloom looks cool if I can figure out what the hell I'm doing. You know, so we can add a bloom. We'll get it start popping to, let's do the bass. You know, so it's like, you know, we got some cool effects here. We'll toggle this on. Actually, let's add gate a little bit more. Add a smooth. Add a 0. I realized I could have just added that from here. You know, but the audience is still seeing this window, right? And we're viewing and editing this one. So what you'd want to do is that when you go to play this live, you're going to want to turn your computer on dual display, not mirrored. And then you're going to want to drag this window over so your audience is looking at this. You know, you can put it over there, you can full screen it, you know, whatever you want to do. But your audience will be looking at this window while you're editing here. You know, so it's like, okay, now that we've finished editing this one a little bit, we want to start bringing it in. Let's change this to Shader 3. And let's do a 30-second transition, right? You know, so it's like, you already know what this one looks like, your audience doesn't. Unfortunately, you're going to not be seeing this. This is going to be on your other screen. You know, so once this kind of breaks down a little bit, I'll start transitioning. You know, again, each person will do their own thing. There is no right or wrong. It's just personal preference. That's kind of the beauty of art. Yeah, so here we go. And as you can tell, we're slowly bringing in this one. Very slowly, and you get some cool little mix that you didn't have before, and it's kind of blending the two scenes together. You know, so with preview and edit, you're able to come in here and just like, okay, let's view the square, I guess, right? Say this is the next scene you want. And then let's bring neon over the front because, I don't know, it's art. And we sure as hell don't want pink. So we're gonna do difference. There we go. So look, there we go. We know we want this one to come in. You know, we're gonna add more trails because, you know, trails. And we'll turn it up to 3 speed. Turn up this, we get more pulsing. And the song's over, so now we gotta change it again. And now we'll change it up a little bit. Let's do some death step just to make a giant change. You know, and again, as you noticed, I restarted it and auto advance turned on again. That's kind of shitty. You know, so if you're going to be playing live, you may want to record or kind of put your songs together in a long mix before coming in here, or else you're going to have some funky shit going on. You know, so okay, let me change those because that's not what we want. We want it to go to high zone, and we want to do X times 3 just because that's over the top as shit. And we don't want a lot of blur. Actually, we don't want times 3, we want times 2. And we'll look for a smooth gate, probably these. Yeah, so there we go. And we're like, okay, we want to transition to square next. Let's do square. We want it to be a 30-second transition, right? Here we go, right as it starts dropping, or beginning to drop. There we go, bring in the square. Bring in the square. And then right after this, we're going to do an abrupt change to shader 2. Just because we can. Not abrupt, but let's do like 5 seconds, right? There we go. We got the build up with the square. There we go. See? Crazy. And of course, this is pink. And that's not what we wanted, so that's grand. You know, so it's... You have quite a few options here, guys. There's not really a right or wrong. Again, just... pick and choose as you please. Alright, we're going to go to shader 3, preview and edit scene. And we're going to bring, let's do this from here. No, that's crazy as shit. Just kidding. We'll do this. And as you can tell, we'll blend them. Difference. There we go. Now we got some whatever the fuck that is. And look, you can drag another one. We'll do an echo trace from neon, put it on top. We'll blend it again. No, just kind of fucking around, blending things together. Lots of blending. You know, I kind of like how this looks. Don't know what is going on there, but you know, now you can come here and change these. We want it to increase with the kick, and I'd highly recommend a smooth and gate. Right? So the audience is still seeing whatever that is. Now we're going to bring in this green, and we're going to drag from here again. And let's layer in the back, right? There's pink, damn it. You know what we want? Add maybe. multiply, but we get pink. Not what I want, game. You know, I like what we had before too, so I'm going to toss this on top. We'll do layers, blend, and we'll do probably difference. No. We'll do hue. There we go. Like, okay, this looks cool with the drop. Now we're going to do an instant change to it. Alright. Run shader 3, change this shader 3. Let's do 10 seconds. Now, as you can tell, look here. Completely changed, yet you barely notice what's going on. You know, so you don't really see the changes happening. You know, so it's like you can kind of change shit on the spot. You know, and get some cool things happening. You know, so you know, mess around with this. Let me know what you guys think. If there's anything I missed, please let me know, and I'll try to create another video for you so you guys can have fun playing live and accomplish what you want to accomplish. I'll let the song play out, and then I will head out, guys. Thanks for your time today. Cheers.